Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be about basically how I got through failing a semester. And unfortunately I didn't fail one class, but I failed two classes, and I'm going to talk about why I failed two instead of the one that was actually causing me all of the trouble. I was actually taking 4 classes that semester, so we'll get into it, get into everything, all the nitty gritty. And I thank you guys so much for supporting and watching my videos and subscribing and sharing and liking. It's been such a help in helping my channel grow, and I hope you guys continue to support me. So if you want, go ahead and stay tuned. Okay, so let's get into it. So last semester, what happened? So I was actually taking 4 classes, and as you guys know, I was doing a bachelor's in biology because I was told that that's what I had to major in if I wanted to go to medical school to become a doctor. And again, as you all know, or some of you guys know, by the time that I knew that that was actually incorrect information, I was already about 2 years into the actual program. I had completed my prerequisites and all of my gen ed courses pretty much the last year of high school and the first semester of actual college after I graduated. So the way my the way my high school worked is basically if you were in honors classes, your classes basically went by fast. Instead of taking a whole year to do one class, we basically took a semester to do one class and moved on to the next class. So by my junior year, by that second semester, I was already taking early start classes for college credit. So by that senior year, all the classes that I were taking that senior year counted as college credit. And that meant that I only had to take one more semester to finish my general ed courses. So when I moved to an actual 4-year university from a community college, I was starting to get into the actual program requirements, like the biologies, the organic chemistries, the calculus, the physics, and things like that. And I went through a little bit of a depression phase, and the way that was kind of a weird moment for me and a weird period of my life, because in my family, depression wasn't really talked about at all. So I was afraid to say, oh, I have depression, or I think I'm depressed. It was like, no, you have problems that you're going to work through. And not to say that my family, I had a horrible childhood or anything like that. It's just that it wasn't talked about as something that people go through. So when it was happening to me, I didn't really know what was going on. And then when I slowly figured it out, it was kind of too late, because I had really let my life just kind of spiral out of control, and I just hit a very low point. And I want to say that majoring in something that I wasn't passionate in kind of was the tipping point for me, because it felt like I'm pursuing something that I don't want to work in. I'm pursuing a career that I'm not going to be happy with after I graduate. It's like I'm looking around and feeling so out of place. Everybody's enjoying their classes, everybody's enjoying college life, and they're graduating. And I'm looking around and thinking, I'm failing class after class because I'm not putting in effort because I just don't enjoy this. I actually started to hate going to class. And I was a really, really good student. I've always been a really good student from elementary school. Yeah, my grades in elementary and like a little bit of middle school, probably like average. And then I basically started competing with my friends on who could get the better grade. And then once I got to high school, it became really easy for me because I kind of kept myself in a competition mode in middle school to get better grades. I understood the material a lot more, and in high school they go over it so much in class that you really don't need to study. That was kind of my falling point for nursing school, because you have to study in nursing school. No matter what school you're coming from, when you go to nursing school, you have to study and you have to form good study habits. So anyway, my mom was talking to me about nursing and different things like that, and she was like, hey, maybe you would want to take A&P, anatomy and physiology, she said. And I was like, that's not part of my curriculum. It's something that I won't get credit for going towards my bachelor's in biology. And she was like, I really think you should take it. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna take it. I moved to a different school and I took it, and I really enjoyed it. I really did. I mean, of course it was challenging, especially with the anatomy portion. With the tests, the way they were structured is that you would get a blank page with 50 questions, or basically 50 blank lines, and you would have to name everything that's in front of you according to the stickers that they put on it. They'd be like, okay, they put a sticker on this particular piece of the bone, and it would be sticker number 49 or so. So you would have to write out what that portion of the bone was, or muscle or vein or anything like that. But I really actually enjoyed it. And I was like, you know what, this is kind of something that interests me. So I kind of really missed my old school, my old university, and I was missing basically the atmosphere of it, because there was nothing like the atmosphere that I got. And so I went back to my university, and of course going into the same major, because at this point I hadn't decided to change my major yet. I hadn't decided to go into nursing yet. In my mind, I still wanted to go to medical school to be a doctor, and all for the wrong reasons. Of course, the money, the recognition, the way my family would look at me as a doctor. But so I went back to the same university, same major, and when I tell you, my life felt like it was literally exploding. It felt like every day a piece of my life's puzzle was torn apart, just ripped away. And it, like, I was literally struggling to find meaning in my life. And if anybody knows me, they knows that I like to be a part of something bigger. I like to give back. I like to help people. And I couldn't even do that because literally I was falling apart. It's like I wasn't even there. I was enjoying, the college lifestyle with the sorority, and I attended maybe one or two parties. I'm really not a party girl. But yeah, I enjoyed that aspect of it, being in college, but everything to me didn't make sense when I was doing a bachelor's in biology. So I took a break. I stayed out for a semester. And I basically really had to get my life together. I dropped out about mid-semester, and this is where I really felt like my life was over. because all my life my parents preached, if you want to support yourself, you need to get an education. School, school, school. Ever since I was young, I can remember them saying, you're going to college, you need to get a good job, because we're not going to be here forever. You need to be able to support yourself. Day of tomorrow, I die, I pass away, where are you going to be? They preached, I don't want my kids depending on somebody else to take care of them. Because if you depend on them, that means that you're susceptible to everything that they demand of you, and that they can treat you any kind of way, they can abuse you, anything. And my parents did not want that for us at all. So thinking of all of this and seeing my college career just go up in smokes and flames, I was lost. And I really had to just take a break and cut it all out. Like, just stop completely. So I started working, really getting into the habit of working. And my mom suggested nursing again. And I was like, you know what? Let me look into it. Anybody knows me, I research things. I research a lot of things. And I'm not a person that just research it one time. I will research it over and over and over and over and over again until I am well informed and I can teach somebody about this topic. So kept researching, and kept talking to my mom. My mom's a nurse. Kept talking to my mom, asking her mom, how was it for you? How did you get your nursing school? How was it? What is your income? Because even though I've lived with my mom pretty much my whole life, we didn't talk about income like that. I never asked her, Mom, what are you bringing home a month? Because I mean, I'm a kid. It's not a question that you have for your parents. So I was like, Mom, what are you bringing home a month? What are you able to do with your life as a nurse? What can you afford? What can you treat yourself with? How can you treat yourself? Can you take vacations? Can you do this? Can you do that? Because me as a person and me as an adult, I don't want to just work my life away. I want to work and make a good earning, but I also want to treat myself and take vacations, maybe once or twice a year. I want to be able to afford nicer things. If I want a new car, I want to be able to afford that new car. I want to be able to live comfortably and also have money left over for a rainy day, for a splurge, for something. I don't want to just keep feeling like I'm working paycheck to paycheck, living paycheck to paycheck, and always stressed out about where money's going to come from this month or next month. So we had a conversation about it. And then I was like, okay, I'm making the decision. I'm getting back in school and I'm going to apply to nursing school. And by this time, my mom had already been in nursing school again for about a semester. So I saw kind of how she was studying and everything. And I was like, oh, that's a lot. That's a lot of studying. I was like, can I do that? Like, can I really do that? Because again, I didn't have to study that much in high school or in my first semester of college. They went over it so much that if you didn't at least pass those tests with a C, you really weren't trying. So I really had to look at myself and be like, do you want this? Do you really want this? Because if so, you're really going to have to put in. You're going to have to put time in. You're going to have to sacrifice some things. And many nurses tell me, and many nursing students tell me, it's a sacrifice. You're going to be missing time with your family, time with your boyfriend. You're going to be probably working less, which means that you can't afford much because your budget is tight. Your expenses are still elevated, but you're working less, which means that you don't have a lot of overage. So I just went in full force. I was like, Mom, you got me. You got me. You're in nursing school. You know, you've been through this before. You're going through it now. I'm coming right behind you. We got each other. So applied for nursing school. And I was really nervous about if I would get in or not. And mainly that had to do with my GPA, because coming from something that I wasn't really psyched in, something that I wasn't putting anything into, my GPA kind of got low, and I was afraid that with that they would look at it and they would deny me, because who wants a student to come to their college if they see that their track record hasn't been that good? So got in my first try. Awesome. Was relieved, but that's not where the stress stopped. The stress did not stop when I got that acceptance letter. I was like, okay, now the real work starts. So I'm taking 4 classes, 2 nursing classes, pharmacology 1 and nursing 1. And I'm also taking A&P 2, the lecture in the lab. Now here, I mentioned before I took A&P 1, lecture and lab, like a semester or 2 before I actually decided I was going to apply to nursing school. But of course you have to take the second part of that. And my nursing school, you can apply if you have not taken A&P 2 with the lecture and lab, but you must complete it by a certain point into the program. So took all 4 of those classes together, and when I tell you it was like the hardest thing ever, I felt like there was not enough time in the world for me to study for all 4 of those classes. Pharm was pretty much probably the easiest class because it was a memorization. So, let me interject real quick, because I just realized I did not explain why I failed pharm. Also, with me failing nursing. Sorry, something's in my eye. I don't know what it is. But anyway, so I was already doing bad in nursing, but I was doing pretty well in pharm. Like I said, it was a memorization class, so I was really good at it. I was doing pretty good. But I let my stress and my depression from failing nursing 1 to impact me negatively on that final for pharm. I was up the whole night, and I was arguing with my boyfriend the whole night. So that had a factor in it. I was letting me thinking that I'm a failure. That had a part in it. And also, we were taking tests at home, so we were being monitored on the screen. And of course, with everything that's happening, I forgot to charge my computer. So my computer was almost running dead, and I did not want to be accused of cheating if I went to look for my charger in the middle of the test. So I basically rushed through it, and now that I'm thinking about it, after I took the test, I was thinking about it also. I switched things in my head that I knew previously. I knew this information previously, and I switched everything in my head. And literally, if I probably would have answered one more question correctly, I would have passed pharm. But I let my emotions get the better of me, and I didn't sleep well that night. I was worried about failing, and I just kind of blew pharm because of everything that I was feeling and everything that I was going through. So that's why I ended up failing both classes instead of one class. A&P 2 was getting you prepared for nursing and medical school. That was a class that started getting you into that application process of thinking. It was more of applying the information to the test, not just verbatim spitting out what they're throwing at you. So having that class, an introductory application class, along with a full force application class with new information that I've never seen, with material that goes super fast, And I was like, what? I was out of my league, way out of my league. And I want to say that from how I was back then, semester ago, but from how I was that semester, I did put my all into all those classes. I really did. And I just didn't know that I could have put a lot more in. I didn't know that I had a lot more to give. I didn't know that. I had never put my all into classes. Never. I never had to. So with this semester, when I look back and see how much I'm studying now to how much I was studying back then, I was like, you didn't try hard enough. You didn't try hard enough. You didn't do everything you needed to do to pass that class. Yes, it was new information. Yes, you were taking a lot at the same time. But you still didn't put your all into it. And that for me was mind-blowing. It was a real eye-opener for me from this semester to last semester. When I got my grades back from last semester, I'm not gonna even lie, I cried. That was the first time I ever cried over a failed class. I just cried, and I felt so ashamed because everybody knew that I was in nursing school. Everybody knew that I had just completed a semester of nursing school. And I felt like I had let every single person down. I felt like I let my mom down because she's been through it. She got through it. So for me, it was like she was in my position before and she made it through. So how could I not? And this wasn't the first time I failed a class. So for me to switch my major into something that I am passionate about and fail, that was huge. That made me feel kind of useless. It kind of made me feel like, why am I even trying anymore? Like, should I even try anymore? Like, if nursing, something that I really want to do, something that I'm passionate about, is not working for me, what will? When I tell you, I went through like a mini freak out, a mini panic attack, a mini depression phase, all into one. I felt like I couldn't breathe because I was like, how am I going to explain to everybody that I failed? Like, yeah, you see on YouTube that this person failed or that this person failed, but you never think it's going to happen to you. You never think that out of everybody in the school that you're going to be that one to fail, that you're going to be that one repeating a semester. And I wish that there was a counselor, a real counselor who can help you deal with these feelings. Somebody who knows nursing, who knows what it's like to go through it and know what it's like to struggle, and that can help students to get past these points. Because I felt alone. I felt like, yeah, me and 3 of my friends failed. Okay, but I felt like nobody understood how I was feeling. I felt like I was walking on an empty road in the dark by myself, looking and reaching out for people. And nobody heard me. Nobody could help me. I just felt so down on myself. Like, how could you fail? Like, this is something that you say you're passionate about. How could you fail this? And I really just had to give myself permission to feel bad, because I'm the type of person that if I bottle it up, things are just going to start stacking on top of each other until there's no more space left in the box that I've put everything in. And somebody's going to say something wrong that they probably don't even see. They probably don't even see it's wrong, and I'm just going to explode. So, in order to get past it, I had to let myself feel everything. It was painful. It was emotional. But I just had to be in the moment and accept what happened, because nothing was going to change it. So, I denied it happened. I felt it. I just accepted it. I let myself just kind of be in a numb place for like a week or two, because at this point I had about 2.5 months, because it was summer now. I'm going to use the summer to my advantage. I'm going to break all my walls down, feel everything. Then I'm going to pick myself back up, piece together everything, and I'm going to fight like crazy to get through this first semester. Of course, I felt like, I just felt like I don't want to look at my friends moving on without me. But then I was like, you know what? No, this is my journey. This is my journey, and no matter how long it takes, this is my journey, not anyone else's. This is not my friend's journey. This is not my mom's journey. This is not my boyfriend's journey. This is mine. This is something that I want for me. So I'm going to get through it for me, not for anybody else. So I just had to get to a point where, you know what? I don't care how this makes anybody else feel. I'm only interested in how it made me feel, and how it made me want to strive for better, and how it made me want to figure out where my priorities were and change it to get to where I want to be. So yeah, I took a few weeks. I was depressed for a few weeks. I cried for a few weeks. I was sad. I was ashamed for a few weeks. But the more people asked me, what happened in that semester? Are you moving to level 2? Hey, how's school going? How's nursing school going? I remember that you say you got into nursing school. Answering that first question to that first person, it was like I was ashamed and I didn't want anybody to know. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to be real with people, because if I'm not real with myself first, I can't be real with other people. And this is why I started the channel, because I don't want anybody to go through everything that I went through to get to the mind state that I'm at right now. I'm telling you, I felt so alone in that period, and I don't want anybody else to feel like that. I want people to know that, hey, sometimes this happens. No matter what, sometimes this just happens, but it's a part of your journey, your personalized journey. And I don't know whether you believe in God or anything like that, or the universe or anything, but just know that this is your journey and nobody else. Nobody else's. So take your time and get through it how you can get through it. Some people, it takes them longer to graduate. I've been out of high school for 6, almost 7 years, and I still don't have a degree in my hand. And I had to stop looking on social media Stop looking on Instagram at the happy families, at the happy marriages, at the perfect lives after high school graduation, after college graduation. Because I was depressing myself. I was like, I've been out of school for how long, and I basically have nothing to show for it. But it took a while, and I want to talk to y'all and say, if you fail a class, if you fail a semester, let yourself feel. Don't be ashamed about it. You're not the first person to fail. You're not the first person. And I don't want you to feel alone and isolated, because you're not alone. Yeah, many people may not talk about it. That's why I'm here. You can talk to me. You can talk to me in the comments. I'll talk to you. Sometimes I have nothing better to do than to be on YouTube. So if you leave a comment, I'll chat with you. Definitely. I don't want y'all to feel alone. And you know what? That's kind of why I made this channel, to help people. This is something I'm passionate about. This is something that I know that a lot of people can get use out of. So I made a nursing YouTube channel. This is something that I'm passionate about, and that will definitely be sticking around. Sometimes I may not post on a timely schedule. Of course, I'm in nursing school, but this is something I'm not ready to give up on, and probably won't ever be. This is something that I'm excited to share with you guys. This is exciting for me. This is another piece of my life, another part of my journey, and figuring out me. That is my spiel for today. But all in all of this is just to say, this is your journey, and don't let anybody else dictate what and how you should feel. Whether you fail a class, whether you fail a semester, whether you change your major, don't let anybody make you feel ashamed of doing something for you. Because even though I didn't have people do that to me, I know some people go through that, and I feel like it's not right. Everybody has to figure out what is for them. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and I will see you next week. All right, bye guys.